evening to all of you. It's currently evening time in every section and fragment of Africa, right from the West African bloc to the east to the southern bloc. It's all evening time. And we welcome you all to the One Africa Freedom Dialogue on the topic, what is the problem in Africa? There are a lot of interjections going on which are trying to serve as an impediment to the flow of sound democratic freedom in our countries in Africa. And as a result, developments in our countries have been on the low, have come to the still, and we see no development in everywhere in Africa. We see stagnant developments, we see still developments because of the interjections, which are set itself as problems in our countries. And we ask ourselves why. We have phenomenal people in Africa, expertise people with the great knowledge, people with all it takes to be able to cause a revolution and see to the change we need to see in Africa. But so unfortunately, things are on the low here. And we just don't get it. Why? Why? What are the causes that are leading to what we see here? Why are we not able to see the flow of the change we want to see in Africa? What's the reason? What's the cause? Every year, now in, we keep on seeing different kinds of issues, right from our economic sector. We hear of inflationary spirals, we hear of recessions. We go to our social sectors, we hear of those kinds of issues, child abuses, molestations, human rights abuses. Everywhere we see kinds of racial discriminations, and we call ourselves people who are united. It's such a woe. And I'm glad today to see all of us all here in our numbers to be able to dissect on the problem. So we want to, first of all, ask ourselves, what is the problem in Africa? What is leading to what we see here? So we open the floor to everyone here. If you have a view, if you have a solution, if you want to raise your point, you want to raise your idea on the problems that are in Africa and the results that can be put or amended to lead to the change, we open the floor to you. So we open the floor to everyone to give in his or her ideas about the problems we have in Africa, the issues which are serving as impediments towards the flow we need to see, towards the change we need to see, and your ideas towards how we can all come back again and lead a very purposeful revolution in Africa, so that posterity will be glad, so that posterity will come and not feel sad, not ask questions about how their natives, about how their ancestors were leading their countries, but they'll be glad and give credence to their ancestors and to the broad leaders who were there, and also give credence, most importantly, to freedom giants like us. But today, as a host, I want to first of all bring to our notice the first problem we are facing in Africa, and that is racial discrimination. Racial discrimination. The problem of racial discrimination has become very, 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 very rampant in our systems, and it's really killing the flow of freedom in Africa. People now decide to choose people based on their racial lines. People decide to now promote people based on their racial lines. There's a kind of racial segregation in Africa, which is killing the kind of uprising we need to see in our continent. We may have, let's go to Nigeria, we may have an Igbo who wants to do something phenomenal in the political lines, but because maybe he may be an Igbo, we may have people who, having the power to be able to elect him into office through a referendum, through voting, through elections, may decide that, oh, come on, he's not from my tribe, I'm a Yoruba. So let me now sideline him, because if he comes into power, it would look like I'm of no use. So let me just kick him out and rather vote for someone else who is in my tribe. We see political candidates who decide to choose and appoint ministers only from their tribes, or whose geographical location are similar or close to the homage of their tribes. And this is very, very debilitating. And we need to come to the point whereby we begin to realize ourselves and see ourselves as one. You know, the other time I was talking about an issue whereby it was so amazing that we have even General Lozoreti Enya, who also shares the same name with a Nigerian freedom giant by name Freedom CEO leftist Enya Igbonomwan here. And we share the same names, we look alike, we look going down from our historical lines, we all came from different places and came to settle at real geographical locations. So in Ghana was not our first inhabitation. We were from different places, we were from various empires, you know, and we came to find free land at various ends, and we decided to now settle there because we found that habitat as very conducive. And we settled there. So Ghana, present Ghana, where Ghanaians live, was not their main land. They came to borrow that land and now found that place as their permanent place. That's the same in those kinds of empires. But we've come to the point whereby we even travel outside Africa and go to various continents, and we see ourselves not as Africans, but based on tribal segregations. And this is really, really, really a threat towards the kind of revolution we need to see in Africa. Because there are loads of people who have the ideas, who have their minds, who have what it takes to be able to cause that revolution. But they are not giving the needed support simply because they are of a particular inclination, they are of a particular tribe, they are of a particular historical background, which does not have any adverse record. Yet, because they are not from, in quotes, our homage, we don't give them that kind of applause. And this is very, very shameful. It's very shameful. We need to be able to see ourselves as one people and not come to the point whereby we say he or she is an Ewe, he or she is a Kikuyu from Kenya, or a Maasai. So let me, or an Ewe, or a Hausa, so let me be on the side of this person because he's from my tribe. We need to see ourselves as one people, because we come to a point whereby we marry and we bring forth a kindred. This kindred that comes forth is as a result of the combination of two tribes. Sometimes, most especially, we could have maybe an Ewe marrying a Kikuyu from Kenya. I can see Freedom Giant, then is Makisa here, who's from Kenya. And they all join together to become one, to bring forth one seed. And this seed also brings forth another seed, and brings forth another seed. And we keep on mixing with different tribes. And you tell us that, come on, we are segregated. No, we are all one people. And my blood is your blood. Your blood is my blood. And we need to be able to see ourselves as one and stop this kind of segregation flow that we have of ourselves and begin to work as one people in one anatomy for the change we need to see in Africa. If we want to see a new industrial revolution again, not from China, but from Africa, from Lesotho, from Uganda, from Botswana, from Angola, then it's time we need to see ourselves as one people. And from there, dissect into the flow of eliminating religious differences, but see ourselves based on the flow of the African perspective and move as one people. So that's the first issue that we have on board. Now, the second issue that we have on board is the problem of gender inequality. Gender inequality. We have had various woes in our nations because various kinds of sexes have been sidelined. And when we talk about gender inequality, it's not talking about a gender imbalance, but it's rather a female inferiorism, whereby females have been imbalanced on various positionary roles that lead to development of our societies. We have loads of females right from the past who have done major, awesome things, who have led great revolutions, right from Ya Asantewaa to people, right from Ya Asantewaa to people like Rosa Parks, to current people like Dr. Ikenje of Nigeria, to people like Ellen Johnson of Liberia, who are all causing phenomenal strikes, have caused and are causing phenomenal strikes. Yet we begin to see ladies and to see females, most especially as people of no significance. And that is very shameful. We have ladies who can come to the point of being prime ministers, presidents, member of parliament, district heads, and great leaders, wherever they are. But because they are leaders, they have been put on the low. And this is very shameful. This is very embarrassing to the dignity of the African anatomy. When we start to see ourselves as people who are differentiated based on gender lines, then Africa will not grow. When we want to pick roles, even in African Voices International, and we feel like, no, she's a lady, let us put her on the other side, then things will not flow well. But when we begin to now see ourselves and look at ourselves based on the various kind of intellect we have within ourselves, and not based on the human anatomical structure, then we can see Africa thriving. So we have racial discrimination as the first point. We have gender inequality at the next point. And the next point, again, is xenophobism. So when you look at the issues, these issues are issues that are all stemming from various kinds of sectionist theories, whereby people want to now classify themselves as the majority and superior to other people. People want to feel superior, people want to feel better off. And as a result, we'll find various kinds of self-within or self-inclined or in groups to raise themselves up over the masses. And that's very bad. So now we have various countries that are looked down upon because of their geographical size, because of their geographical population, because of the quantity of resources they have, because of various unnecessary and, in quotes, unquoted and insignificant factors. And it's very bad. It's very bad. Today, we went right from ECOWAS to EAC to Central Africa, right from every block in Africa. Certain countries are disregarded due to very insignificant factors. And it's very shameful. Of course, we might be able to give credence to those countries who have very nominal resources and are using them for the benefit of their lands. But that does not mean that if any other nation does not have resources or does not have any tool or any requisite labor or any experience in a particular segment, they must not be celebrated or given their applause. No. We must be able to see ourselves as one. We must be able to support each other and make every citizen feel at home. If a Nigerian goes to Ghana, if a Ghanaian goes to South Africa, if a Malawian goes to Cape Verde, wherever they find themselves, we must all be able to love each other and make each person feel at home wherever we are. Yes. Sometimes there are a whole lot of hidden threats that are going on in our countries, and as a result, when other citizens go to other countries to seek refuge there, and we find that probably this person is not our citizen, we begin to look down on him or her. We begin to come against him or her. We begin to break down on him or her. We begin to discourage him or her. We begin to assault him or her. And that is very bad. And we are here today to talk on the problem. So if you have any issue, if you have any point on course, it's so unfortunate that our host is having connection problems and it's not here. If you have any note to bring on board, we give you the point, we give you the platform for you to be able to raise on your views and express yourself today. So if you want to speak, kindly raise up your hand or kindly unmute yourself and talk. Okay, Dr. Sad is here. We're giving the podium for him to talk. Thank you.
Once again, good evening, my fellow freedom giants. As I said earlier, I am Ambassador Dr. Saad Umar Farouk from Nigeria, from Nigerian Anatomy. Well, the point of discussion, which is problems in Africa. Wow, it's a very big problem, but I strongly believe that there is no any problem that has no solution. And I think part of the solution is we have started talking about it and we will keep on talking about it. I want to look at it from these points, some of the problems, developmentally, as you said, which and democratic. Now, I want to look at it from one, we have, let me look at from agricultural development, food security. Generally in Africa, we have this food security, food insecurity. Let me put it this way, food insecurity. Because if you look at the number of Africans migrating from Africa to Europe, they will tell you as a result of poverty. And if you look at poverty very well, after extreme poverty, it will bow down to lack of food, that is hunger. When somebody can say if he has something to eat, he doesn't have money, I don't think he will look at himself as a poor person. But once it bows down to the level where you cannot be able to think of how you would have a comfortable or befitting breakfast, after struggling, you got breakfast, you still need to struggle to get lunch. After struggling to get lunch, you will still struggle to get dinner. In such situation, definitely, if you have any option, even if it is in the fire, that is why that there must be need for someone to go. Now, another issue I want to still look at it from crime and violence. Crime and violence, which can also be linked to that poverty. Now, if you look at environmental sustainability and climate change, now I will still look at it from equal opportunity, coming from social, racial, and religious. These are the few problems I have extracted for now. Now, you mentioned some of them in your synopsis, while describing them. And if you look at our major problem in Africa, I believe they are all important to us. Now, most of our countries in Africa, let me start from the policies, because we use policies to govern countries. Most of those policies are not indigenous policies. They are policies that have been imported to us. And that is why what our leaders are using to govern us. So I think, because I learned something in life, when you highlight problems or you identify problems, you also need to identify solutions. Now, behind all these things, we have intra-state conflicts, we have terrorism, we have unconstitutional changes of government, though recently it is minimal, because most of African countries, apart from one to year to year, compared to the 1980s, where almost all African heads of states were military men. But now I think we have only few that are not democratic leaders. Now, the solution is not far-fetched, because I just want, I am a practical person. I like giving example of what is happening, what I have seen, what I have heard, what I read as evidence. Simply on this, our platforms, the African Voice platforms, you can see us fighting each other. There is an issue that happens. A Muslim will be blaming a Christian. A Christian will be blaming a Muslim. A Nigerian will be blaming a Ghanaian. Now, these are things that divide us, for God's sake. How can we fight the common enemy while we keep on fighting ourselves? My dear freedom giants, we have a great work ahead of us. We need to look at each other as brothers and sisters. We have to look at religion as a vehicle that conveys you to your creator. I may decide to take a Volkswagen Beetle to go to my creator. You may decide to take a Lexus Jeep to go to your creator. Your mode of transport is not supposed to be my problem. My problem is, how are we uniting while traveling on those journeys? As I am traveling with my Volkswagen Beetle, if you see me, maybe I have a flat tire, if you have the ability to assist me, assist me. Don't look down on me. Don't insult me because I have a Volkswagen Beetle and you are having a Lexus Jeep. If we have a change of mindset and look at each other as brothers moving towards our various journeys in order to go to our destinations, I think we'll start to get it right. But until then, now, I want to look at it from racial angle now. This is a Ghanaian. This is a Nigerian. We are wearing the same color. I'm a black man. We look like each other. The president have said it. Some of us share common names. Now, I am coming now to put a boundary that was put between us by the colonial masters in order to achieve their aims. Instead of us to collapse all those boundaries, in as much as you are a black man, irrespective of where you come from, you must be my brother, you must be my sister, no matter what it takes. I'm just providing some of the solutions on how, because we want to talk on how to get it right. Right, my president? Am I loud and clear?
You are loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. So I'm only making some suggestions the way we are going to get it right. It's not impossible. I don't belong to that school of thought that say that we can't do it. No, I refuse to belong to that group. I still remain very, very optimistic that we can get it right. Now, another problem, as I said earlier, most of our policies are foreign policies that was enforced on us by the other people so that they can achieve their aim. Because one, I think there was somebody they asked, I can't remember very well, I headline when I'm talking to the public, that what is the source of, what is the resources of the United Kingdom? He said Africa. And I strongly believe in that. Because without Africa, all those countries will not be there. And the most painful thing is, they use the same Africans against Africans. So if we really want to get it right, one, from democracy, let me give an example with my country now, because we are going into election. We have leaders, good leaders in Africa who have good intention, who are real Pan-Africanists. But the major problem is they are not many. And most of them, I believe they belong to this school of thought that if I cannot beat them, I will definitely not join them. So at the end of the day, they will be there, remain there, without us now supporting these people, standing with them. I saw a video sometimes trending on the social media where election time came in Ghana. Some politicians brought some rice inside a truck to give to the people. The people said, no, we need jobs. We need jobs. We don't need your rice. How long are you? But if you give me a job, not only having rights for myself. So we really need to change our mindset. Thing I said here, what is penny? Almost all of us knows it. My father used to tell me that everybody, even a liar, somebody telling lies, he knows. The difficult thing about saying the truth is standing by the people know. According to Lucky Dube, if you want to stand by the truth, ensure that you will stand alone. So it's the type of mindset we are supposed to have. All is against the truth. Let us, the majority, because for now, let us tell ourselves the truth. We are not with those who want to stand with the truth. That is my pen. So if the majority of us, even in this our various anatomies, with those who are real Pan-Africanists, who have Africa in the heart, who knows the truth and are ready to stand by the truth. Come and stand by these people, my president. If we can have that change of mindset today, I want to let you know by tomorrow, that changes we've been singing about will come to pass. So the truth about it is we have problems, we have problems very compounded. For example, now, insecurity in my country have become a thing of a fashion. Because in my country today, if you are to travel from your home, must turn to prayer warriors. You are safe, you must be a prayer warrior because this is the only weapon that is available to us. God, oh, guide this, my loved one, oh, until he reach. God, have you reached your destination? Glory be to God. Because for celebration, it's not supposed to be so. It's not supposed to be so. We are not talking about me, Saad Umar Farouk in the United Kingdom. I'm not talking about me, Saad Umar Farouk in France. I'm talking about Saad Umar Farouk in Nigeria, my home country. This is the sad situation that is presently in my country. There are many other such scenarios in many other countries in Africa. So if all of us should look inward to see how we can be able to fight, stand, no matter the prosecution, no matter the persecution, no matter the whatsoever sufferness. Of blessed memory. These are the people we are supposed to imitate. He gave his all for Africa to stand what it is today. But unfortunately today, that man, after giving his all, he is in the grave now. May Almighty God forgive his sins. He will be watching us and he will not be happy with the situation in Africa. Because the aim of his giving his all for us to achieve has been defeated. So my president, my fellow freedom giants, we have to stand by the truth. We have why our problem is so compounded again is, one, we have the external enemy to fight with, and we also have enemy within to fight with. So I think for now, let's start with the enemy within to see how we can be able to make them have a change of mindset. What I mean, the enemy, we don't need to carry arms to be shooting. No. Let's use like this kind of dialogue to keep on sensitizing people, to let them know that Saad Umar Farouk of Nigeria is a brother to Dennis Mekisa, to Pigbin Odemwe, Dennis Lumumba, Alex Maraja, and the rest of them. Not minding my religion, not minding my tongue or my dialect. Once we have that mindset, my president, things will be right. So let me give other people opportunity and hear what they have to contribute in that regard. But I am very, very optimistic that the change we are clamoring for is possible. And once we get the right people, and this is the right time, we can do it by the special grace of God. Thank you very much. Let me rest for now and wait for others also to make their own contributions.
Okay, thank you very much, Ambassador Dr. Umar Farouk. Ambassador Dr. Umar Farouk is one of the generals in African Forces International. We have three generals by name. General Umar Farouk, who is from Nigeria. We have General Luzweti, who is from Kenya, and we have General Nsia, who is from Ghana. Now, General Farouk was the one who just spoke right now, and he spoke about the problem that the African anatomy is facing. He spoke about imported policies, whereby we have now adopted policies from anatomies to be that which should rule our countries, and it's killing us simply because we do not look at the problems that we are facing and are rather using foreign remedies to solve different and very abstract problems in our countries in Africa. We also spoke about the quarrels we have, right, from religious to ethnics. And he also spoke about how it even happens even on our platforms. And these are things that are killing the kind of move and force and energy that people need to be able to compound and cause an acceleration for the development we need in our countries. He spoke also about we having people who don't stand by the truth, pretenders, people who just come in to just look at how things are going, but do not really want to stand by the vision. When you always hear the voice of people in Africa, you see the kind of clothes we wear, our African clothes, our African clothing, our beads, everything we do, our cultures, our dances, everything we do. It all signifies a renaissance, a rebirth. We are come out and we are still coming out from the kinds of colonial mentality that were imposed on us and the kinds of imperialist regimes that were put on us. So we are survivors. We are trailblazing survivors. However, if we have people who don't want to stand in the column or in the gap for this resurrection, then Africa will still be enslaved, even though we have countries that are independent, of which we all are in Africa. He also spoke about insecurity that's happening currently. He also spoke about the external enemy to fight with and our enemy also within. Yes. And he's really giving silent points which are all being recorded and will be known, everyone who comes on board to listen to what happened today on our YouTube channel will be able to hear what he said. Now, if you also have a view, you can kindly raise up your hand and we'll call upon you to raise up the problems you see in Africa and the kind of remedies you believe that must be implemented for the change we need to see. Let us believe in ourselves. Let us also note that it's these salient points that we raise that will be able to, one way or the other, lead to various drastic revolutions for our continent. If we stay still, things will still be the same. But if we begin to raise ideas and embark and implement on action-oriented policies, then we'll begin to see different kinds of changes in our districts, in our neighborhoods, in our towns, in our communities, in our cities. So if you have a view, kindly raise up your hand and you will be called. We don't have to see Africa as an inferior continent. We don't have to see Africa as a continent that is less of. We don't have to see Africa as a continent that is drained of excellence. No, we have to see Africa as a haven of freedom, whereby we can all come, go back to our villages and have good time during times whereby we are off from work or we're on holidays. We might be able to see every nook and cranny in Africa as a haven. Yes, people don't even know their villages in Africa. They don't know where they originate from. They don't know their best places, because these geographical locations are places that cannot be viewed with the eye. They are in so much dilapidated conditions. They are so much in, unseeable situations. And as a result, people don't even want to go near where they originate from. But if we believe to appreciate where we come from, believe to now secure, take care of our homeland very well, everywhere we will not be able to differentiate whether this place is a village or a city. We take we'll get to a point in time whereby the wrong plans that have been laid on will bring forth results whereby everywhere looks the same. It doesn't matter whether you are in the village or in the city. Everywhere looks very well constructed roads, neatly arranged markets, and everywhere is clean and neat. It all boils down to us. And if we want to cause the change, then it's all up to us. I see General Nsia, I see Dennis Lumumba also here, Dennis Lumumba here, who has raised his hands, and we'll give him the podium for him to air out his views. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And mine is not actually really so much. I wanted to give a vote of thanks for the people who, I came a bit late, but I was able to listen to Dr. Ambassador Umar Farouk. He spoke very well, passionately, and very direct to his points. The problem of Africa, of course, problem of Africa, or the problems of Africa, so many. But when we wake up consciously to stand or sit together and begin to reason them out, we give it our chance, we give it our best to try to pull one brick at a time. Of course, we can't pull them all together at once, but you pull them one at a time. And we're doing really a right thing, sitting or getting into these kind of groupings and charting our way forward, getting conscious about our problems. When you said that what are the problems of Africa, a dialogue like this is a very important stage for us to begin to recognize our own problems at individual levels, in our community, small community levels in Uganda, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Ghana. If we realize these problems and we begin to see them as problems that can happen elsewhere in other African countries, then we begin to identify ourselves with Africa. So I wanted to tell you that no one will say Africa has this one problem or the other problem. The problems are many and they are direly heavy and they're sitting on us. But I said that recognizing that we have a problem is just one step in the long journey. And it is a good step that we've taken. And I want to encourage all of us to be on the walk. Let's hold our hands. It may not realize the immediate gratification we seek. But if we hold our hands long enough and discuss these things out, we will be amazed by the way we begin to reshackle ourselves to pick out the problems and throw them off. And I want to say on my own contribution that the problem of Africa is the lack of initiative. You know, the people who hold the arms to turn things around in Africa, but they don't have the interest. They don't have the interest. They don't want to begin because they, after all, feel comfortable with what they have, right? And so I'm an economist. So they do not predict the future so far enough to think that if I only look at my richness, what I have been able to accumulate for myself and my family, for example, and don't look at the future of others and the future, the communal future of the African sons and daughters, that things might turn around and you lose everything in a blink of an eye. So the people who really hold the arms to our problems, if they began to act, for example, our problems might begin to melt away. You understand? We might just be here, talk a lot of things. Mr. President and others, I want to encourage you to talk out. You never know who is in the audience, who is trying to listen to you. You might speak a sense and a person says, okay, I think that person has said something that I'd always wanted to hear. And I think I need to support. So to say, we need to look for real good support from people who think our problems are a collective problem, not individual problems. So you start a business in Ghana, for example, and you think the people in Ghana are your own market, and the African brothers and sisters outside Ghana are not important for your business. That's a lie. Of course, that has always been a lie, because we've seen the examples of the people, the multinational business organizations and companies from Europe come and do business here because they know the power of the market that they create. And we are here, we can't open up to serve our brothers within the same continent. And I really want to applaud the governments in our country, in our continent, that are trying to build in integrations, building an infrastructure networks in Congo, in Central African Republic, widening up, for example, connecting the West Africa to each other, Ghana to Nigeria, to Niger, to Guinea. Those connections are very important, right? So I think that's our problem. Our problem is deep, and recognizing it is a very good step in the process of solving it. So I didn't want to take a lot of your time today. I had a presentation yesterday. I thank all of you again for attending yesterday and even today. And I joined late today because I also had another engagement somewhere else, and I was presenting, and I did it. And immediately after that ended, I had to join my brothers in the fight for freedom and in the fight of uncovering our problems in Africa and trying to make sure that they come to an end. And I thank you again for your presentations, and my contribution is here. Thank you very much. My name is Dennis Ameke Lumumba. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Freedom Legend Dennis Lumumba. You've given such a very deep explanation about how we need to emerge and rise up and build and create various kinds of theories, various kinds of objectives, various kinds of innovations, creativities, and ideas that will lead to a wonderful Africa. And the fact that people have been on the low, been mute in Africa, is one of the issues that is leading to Africa being on the sideline. and we are humbled to hear from you. You actually spoke yesterday, and you actually had a very wonderful dialogue yesterday, and we're very humbled to hear from you. We learned a lot from you, and we are humbled to also see you today. So as we box on, if anyone also has any view, you can bring forth your view. But the problems in Africa are a lot. They are a lot. As you look at the profile screen, we can see an artwork of a community, and in the roadside, we have two ladies carrying something, and we also have two young children there. This is a community whereby we'll see different kinds of people with different kinds of professions, talents, skills, but they may be unearthed. We may see different kinds of people with different kinds of economic statuses, both high and low, all living in the same community. We may see this community in there, but people are not connected to each other. There are no interrelations with each other. People just get up, go to their work, and come back. People get up if there's no place to go and pick. If they don't have to do anything on the roadside, they don't go out. They don't talk with their neighbors. They don't care about anything that is going on. They just leave, come back to their homes, and talk with their family. But it's so amazing that probably if maybe that young child, that young girl, those two ladies who are there, if probably one of them is to faint or is to have an accident on the roadside, it's a neighbor on the roadside who would pick her and take her to the hospital. So who's our family then? And even take her phone, if she has a phone, and call one of the recent calls and say that, oh, we saw this person here. Can you come in for her? So we see ourselves as strangers. We see ourselves as foreigners to each other. And this is very saddening. We are the game changers to each other. We are the destiny changers to each other. We are the support hand to each other. Yet, we do not allow ourselves to commune with each other to see the necessary changes we need to see in Africa. We see various kinds of meetings in Africa. They go for African Union summits, and we see our leaders talking on various platforms, but they are talking to rather show forth their intellectual abilities, but not to rather show forth ways in which they can all commune together and bring forth a better Africa. So they go forth and talk and let people know that, no, my country is better than your country. They take pictures, and you look at the pictures and you understand that, no, there's something going on. And that's why Africa is where we are still. Yes, that is why we are where we are still, because we don't support each other. We don't believe in each other. But when we begin to believe in each other, we begin to support each other, we begin to stand in for each other, not even indirectly, but directly, we are supporting ourselves. Yes, we are doing that. We are doing that. And we need to stand tall and begin to support each other. We need to say that enough is enough. We are not going to allow the various systems of mediocrity to thrive in Africa. We are going to make sure that indeed excellence prevails wherever we are. Yes, wherever we are. Right from every department, right from education to trade and finance, to our social rehabilitations, to sports, to technology, to health, everything, yes, must be done very, very, very well. Just a few days ago, I was actually in Accra, and I actually saw a hospital. This is a very big regional hospital in Accra, and I was like, let me just go there and see whether I could just see anybody who is around the emergency ward and just offer an encouraging voice to the person. And this was in the evening. I got there and I saw one gentleman with a mattress, like a student mattress, on the floor. I was asking him, why are you here? He was like, because if he's to come anytime late tomorrow, he may not get the doctor, or probably other people who come in know the doctor and they may rather be sought for rather than him. So he's coming there so that immediately the doors are open tomorrow. He'll find his way in to see the doctor. I was like, wow, really? So is this what is going on? If this person is to die, he's sleeping on the bare ground on a mattress. He brought a student mattress there to sleep down there. Why is this going on? Why are things going on like this? What if the situation gets worse there? Mosquitoes bite him and the situation gets much more worse. Don't think of the situations of our fellow neighbors. Yes, governmental settings are the same as the way we rule our families. So when we have leaders who are taking care of their nations, they must know that they are taking care of their children. And how they want to take care of their children should be how they should also take care of the nation. Unless, of course, they do not even take care of their own children properly, then we understand where the source is coming from. We must be able to dissect everything. We must be able to dissect the analogy and where our leaders are coming from before we are able to support them, bring them on board, and let them take over the affairs of our nations. Otherwise, things will be just as they are. Things will just be as they are. We must be able to assess various things. Of course, everyone has faults. Recently, one freedom giant from Rwanda was talking to me about how one leader from his country is someone he really hates, despite the kinds of revolutions he's made and where he has brought with Rwanda currently. He currently does not want to have anything to do with him because during the struggle, part of his family members actually passed away. Well, we must be able to assess the deeper story in everything and not allow bitterness to take the full side of us, but walk deeper and understand things deeper. And that's how we'll be able to move and change and see the kind of progress we want to see in Africa. Yes, we need to make it happen now. I don't want to grow and by 70 years old, I still see things just as they were when I was in my mid when I was growing. I don't want to see things that way. No. The fact that we see countries, we see political parties, we see governments in power who come in and are bringing forth different kinds of projects, that don't mean the country is accelerating. Of course, every country, every government that comes into power will definitely embark on new projects, may construct new universities, may construct new road overheads, may construct new hospitals. But that's not the kind of change we want to see. We want to see a transformational, generational change that will bridge the gap between poverty and people who are so affluent yet living in a low deprived country. We need to see a balance. It's not only about the provision of jobs for people, but it's about how well they are living, the quality of living, the standard of living they are having and they are faring with in their countries. Yes. So in Ghana currently, of course, there are a lot of things that are going on in Ghana. There are a whole lot of things that currently are going on in Ghana which are not worthy of applause. But I was just very happy when yesterday the president of Ghana announced that he is constructing 60 new district courts as well as bungalows for judges, and in total also constructing other magistrate courts, which are about 40, so in total making about 100 in every region in Ghana, so that the cost in moving from one end to another to file a case would be low. So that just within your nearest neighborhood, you can be able to file a case. And I was like, he's doing this, and he's also, one way or the other, providing accommodation for people. We must be able to see to that indeed the human sufficiency of citizens are at heart, are okay, are excellent, are phenomenal. It's not only about just laying the systems, but laying the system that lead to productive ventures for our people. That is what we need to think about. Sometimes I see young children going to school, going to junior high school, coming back home, and I just ask myself, where are they going? Because these are people who are just going to school and coming, but they are not really laying down any kind of platforms for the future they want to see. Because the governments are just creating schools, because they have to create schools. But it's not only about creating schools, but it's about laying the foundations. We need to lay down not only the cultural foundations for them to know that, no, I originate from Africa, so I must grow and secure my land. They have a sense of passion. They have a sense of urgency to be able to revolutionize their end wherever they are. That's what we must stand for. I would call on our General Enlightened currently to come on board and express his view on the problem that we are seeing in Africa and what he thinks needs to be done to rehabilitate the systems and create a balance for all sundry, so that we don't segmentate ourselves, but we work as one people and see a rapid response in a generational transformation in our country. So, General Enlightened, I welcome you on board, and I'm really humbled to see you here today. And we welcome you on board to express your view and to talk on the subject matter. Thank you.
But the African problem is enormous itself. It's the continent coming together. There's a lot of lip service. In fact, it's nearly 70 years. I think next year will be 70 years when the Organization of African Unity came into being, and Nkrumah employed the organization to form one unit. That was defeated by the Casablanca group. But I think the need is still there. I think 70 years later, I was hoping by now the AU, which is the predecessor of the Organization of African Unity, will be moving all, efforts to try and unify the continent. It's not going to be that difficult if the political will is there, because we got all our regional organizations, and we've got the AU headquarters itself. So it's just the leaders agreeing, putting a timetable to it. Agenda 63, 2063 is one of them, but I think the unity of the continents must be prioritized. And I think the citizens of the continent should work very hard to encourage our leaders to work for it. And Mr. President, you mentioned about going to a regional hospital and seeing somebody lying on the floor. I think politically we need to waken our people up. We need to connect. Once our people are able to connect, make the connection between presidents and ministers racing in, V8s on our streets, to the fact that there's nothing on the street, there's no proper street, no proper hospitals, and no proper schools. Once the masses make that connection, we'll be able to hold our political leadership accountable. Basically, we don't want any magicians. We want our political leaders to do exactly what they promised why we voted for them. When they come for our votes, they make certain promises, and on those promises, we vote for them. What I want the masses to do is to hold the leadership accountable for that. Say you're going to do A, B, and C. We want you to do that. We don't want you to do any more, any less. If our political leaders are able to deliver and are accountable to the masses rather than behaving like, they are the bosses with the masses cheering them on, the continent will be different. And why unity is important is the fact that individually, our economies are too small to stand up to any developed country. Our economies are too small, but once we come together as a continent, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Even in military terms, it is very important for the continent to come together, because from time immemorial, from Lumumba through Nkrumah, Olympio, and all our progressive leaders have been eliminated. They've been eliminated because we haven't been united. If we are united, we'll have enough security to protect our own leaders. So the leadership should not only look to have the vision to organize something progressive for the continent, they should also think of their own security. They should also work with other leaders to protect themselves, to make sure, I'm not saying nobody is going to die. People are going to die. People do die. But when people are assassinated by influences outside the continent, if we are united, we'll be stronger in rebutting those kind of things. And individually, if, for example, Ghanaians are helping Nigerians to strengthen the civil service, and Nigerians are helping South Africans to strengthen, the farming, whatever. We just go cross continent, helping each other and trading with each other and trading with ourselves. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money on the continent. And a lot of the resources used for developing the whole world are coming from Africa. And these people are taking them for nothing. Because we are not united, we can't even put a proper price on it. DR Congo is, one of the most fertile lands on the continent, and also have lots of different, cobalts and coltan and all these resources for development, for mobile phones and all sorts of technological stuff. And we seem to have no use for them. And for us not to be able to use them, outsiders come and create chaos. So we are never organized to be able to use our own resources. And these people bring in private planes and cut them out for nothing. So I think the unity of the continent is important, whichever way you look at it. And by uniting, we start thinking more of ourselves before we start thinking of what's happening outside. We need to build ourselves up. We need to come together and try and create conditions where it's going to be difficult to set one country against the other. We need to wake up, basically, and our leaders, particularly the leaders who take our resources out of the country to keep in other, countries, make millions and billions of investment outside our own countries, should be ashamed of themselves. We as the voters, we as the citizens should also be awake. We shouldn't treat our leaders like gods, We should force our leaders to use our resources for developing the continent. And this is an ongoing process. It's going to be a big struggle. Outsiders are trying to undermine us. Our own people are collaborating with them. And we are thinking, no, this is not right. Let's work around. There are a lot of different things happening on the continent. I applaud organizations like African Voices International, young people coming together to educate themselves, to try and point out flaws in the development process and trying to realign the thoughts of our young people to try and build a continent. I applaud you, Mr. President, and I hope this organization will continue from strength to strength. But don't forget, we've got a lot of work to do. It's going to take a long time. So please, don't relax. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Nsiam. It's always hard for me to see you. And, I really like the you're looking very handsome.
That's my new look. It's only for a week, yeah.
Very beautiful. We need to have a documentary on this, it's very beautiful and we love it very well.
Thank you.
Well. Yes, please. So that's General Nsiam, who is one of the generals in African Forces International, who carries the highest order of rank in the organization, who we always look for and look up to give advice, to give recommendations, to give counsel on how the organization should work and on how Africa and the global anatomy should work. And this Saturday, we have a dialogue with him. That's our general dialogue, our main dialogue. These are just open dialogues. But we have a general dialogue on Saturday with him and General Umar Farouk on the topic combating terrorism. So I entreat everyone here who is listening to us to prepare themselves on Saturday. The links will be shared with us all. The flyers are there. And to prepare for the program on Saturday, as we hear the sound and the great intelligentsia skills from our own General Nsiam and General Farouk. So he's also talking about how we all need to cooperate with each other as leaders and serve as a wing, as people who intertwine with each other for the change we need to see. Because we will definitely move from one stage to stage, and we all need to see ourselves as very reverential towards each other. Now, I can see Pigbin here, and we give you the podium to also raise your views. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. We hear you clearly, please.
Okay, my name is Pigeon Dumengo from Kenya. I believe that the problem affecting Africa is leadership. Because leaders determine the policies that serve Africa. And those policies, some of them are outdated or some for selfish interest. Our leaders are not have projects, of course, they are good projects, but they create a project where they can take money, literally. And I wonder why blacks, who are our leaders, as we Africans, decide to feel like they want to own everything in Africa, they want to be the billionaires, they want to run everything in Africa. And we wake up in the morning to vote them just to serve us, not to enrich themselves. So yes, I'm 26 years old. I happen to be one of the presidential aspirants in my country in this general election. I was eliminated because I did not have maybe the required requirement that they posed to us a week to election. That was very hard for us to achieve. But the court ruled out that such a requirement was unconstitutional. We are still battling with the same process. Election is in the next 19 or 18 days, general election. But there's one thing that I want to send a message to my fellow young Africans. That it is until we take the leadership of Africa seriously that we can change Africa. Until we decide to offer ourselves to be alternative leaders is when we can challenge the leadership of Africa. We can be doing so many charity work, so many philanthropic work, but why do we have to feed kids daily in the refugee center or in children's homes? It's because the leadership have made so many children going out in children's home day in, day out. So we are trying just to actually save the government from the mistakes they've done. When a country is having majority of poor people, you see many countries like in China, where the Communist Party has elevated so many people from poverty. But in Africa here, it is ridiculous that our retiring governors in Kenya today demand their salary to be paid until they die after retiring. And they be paid the statutory amount. They deserve that, they demand that they be given a 3,000 cc vehicle to ride them around every day until they die. Why? While they were serving, they looted Africa and they looted our country. They need to account for this. But for us as young people to challenge the leadership of Africa, we must have the right ideology. We must tune into the revolutionary ideology. We must be students to learn and share this knowledge so that we have so many young people who have learned, inspired, and actually connected with the right ideology. When with the right ideology, we can publish it. Unity will be automatic to us. But if we face them, because it's one of the lessons I've learned, out of my failure to being on the ballot, that I needed to start up with the right ideology. Today, I'm starting a very big revolutionary class in Africa and in my country particularly, where I want to take young men and women through the same revolutionary classes. We remember the histories of the previous revolutionaries. We remember the histories of so many revolutions that are happening in Africa. We impact ourselves with the right ideology. Then we split down. If we can be able to achieve 2 million people the same revolutionary ideology, then these people can stand up to face a government and push for a change. So it's very painful and very sad that even the cost of running for political offices are expensive. Just last week, I was talking to a friend of mine from Nigeria who came to visit me in Kenya. And they're telling me even to buy a ticket in Nigeria to run as a member of county assembly, it's close to 300,000 Kenyan shillings, which is close to, 5 million nairas. While in Kenya, to run for a county assembly member is only $250. Very cheap. So the first thing is that the leadership is even blocking the young people from joining the leadership. And all they need from the young people that the young people must only be voters and to be counted as voters and go and sleep. They tell you that you are a leader of tomorrow and you'll grow older, you'll pass youth grab before you even become a leader of that tomorrow. Then to be story told. As you become older, you'll also be telling other young people that they are leaders of tomorrow, which you never became a leader at that time. So I think it's very important that we face the leadership of Africa. The leadership of Africa is messed and confused. We have capitalists and egocentric leaders who want to amass everything in Africa and want to make us Africans as slaves to them, the same blacks and same Africans like ourselves. It's a sad situation, but we need to see how we can combat this. It is until then that our voices can only be heard if we are on the table implementing our voices. It's not if we are delegating our voices to people who don't really understand what you go through. So that's the challenge I can give unto you people, and I can ask you that let's have a proper organization so that we can emancipate our mind from this mental slavery. Then we can actually have the right force and the right direction moving forward. Thank you very much, and it's my first time joining you, and I'll be joining you moving forward.
Well, thank you very much, Freedom Giant Big Ben Odip Mwengu. We've really enjoyed and we've really had a very, very, very phenomenal explanation from you. And we kindly entreat you classes in Africa, and that's very true, particularly between the adults and the youth, or between the aged and the young, or the youth. And that's very true. Of course, youth and those who are now growing need to sometimes go through a process and understand the way and style of leadership. But in the same vein also too, we have youth who are very tremendous, who are very outstanding, like you, who can be able to take on very phenomenal platforms and positions and cause great revolutionary spirals in Africa. Yet when these things are observed, we see some adults and some aged people in the political atmosphere trying to close and cover up their identity simply because they are doing the wrong things and they are being very corrupt. And these are the things that we need to end. And that's why as Freedom Giants, we are relentless. In our year of rejuvenation, we are relentless. No matter whatever comes up, we don't succumb to these threats. We are relentless. Recently, we had the CEO of the Nigerian Anatomy for African Voices International, CEO left his Igbo Nomwan here, who is not currently here, who is currently recovering because he just left the hospital, who was abused and assaulted by one of the Edo State's district heads because he was asking him about the nature and way of the roads, why the roads are still the way they are. He went to him to just ask him, and he assaulted him and beat him massively, and he was taken to the hospital. This is very bad. We are not allowed to express ourselves, given a hand for what needs to be done, and that's why Africa is still the way it is, because we must understand that there's going to be a generational enhandlement whereby the adult will give the baton to the youth to take care of the nation in the next decades to come. And if this is how the youth are being treated, then they will not lead the country the way it needs to be done in times to come. So if we want to see to it that indeed things need to be done well, then we all need to support each other and give hands to each other for the kind of change we want to see in Africa. I see Freedom Giant Alex Maharaja, Dr. Maharaja here, and I would give him the podium to express his views. So, Dr. Maharaja, you are open to express your views. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to add to what Comrade Pigbin, the president aspirant from Kenya, he just mentioned a good point, what he said that, there is when you are president, you are trying to contest for presidency, and then you have your inner cycle, So this is happening in Africa, in most of the countries, So those people, they have their own interest. When you voted for them, they just distribute the wealth of the country among themselves with their inner cycles, You give the post to your friend will give to their friend because they know each other, Even if you see a corrupted official, a corrupted minister, or a corrupted governor, if you take them to court, accusing them of the corruption, they are not going to take them anywhere because they are in the same cycle, Those one who are on top, they are the one who are supporting them to be corrupt. So, number two, in African institutions, they have a weak judicial systems. You see, the judicial system are not for the whole public. It's for individual people who control the judicial systems. That's why you find so many innocent people who don't know what to do. They are in prison. If you visit all those prisons, the people who are innocent, you can even feel like you want to cry, You can visit different institutions. You'll be shocked how things are going on in Africa. So, to avoid that, and the fight for corruption, people who love this continent, not those people just we need to come together as one, no matter which country you're coming from. If you come from Ghana, I come from Ethiopia, you come from Kenya, Rwanda. Let's imagine, put our imagination together, referring to our countries as a state. You see, like the United States of America. If you are in Kenya, you just start saying, oh, I'm in the state of Kenya. I'm in the state of Ethiopia. I'm in the state of, we can call them provinces, you see. So that's the beginning of uniting together, you see. The other thing, we should stop promoting tribalism, religion lines, discrimination against one another. So this is just in short. Thank you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we hear you very much, Dr. Maharaja. And you spoke about how we need to end all kinds of segregations and stop being discriminative and see ourselves as one people. You spoke about we seeing ourselves as provinces, whereby we don't see ourselves based on our countries, but call ourselves based on states like the United States of America, based on provinces, based on states. So we can say I'm from the Kenyan state or Jamaica or Ethiopian state or wherever. And that's true. And I will really send you the link, Dr. Maharaja. Someone was supposed to send you a link to our platforms today. And I don't know that you've received it, but you'll receive it hopefully by the end of the day. And so that you get to know more about what we do. So in African Voices International, every suburb in Africa is called an anatomy. So if you are from Nigeria, we say you are from the Nigerian anatomy. From Kenya, you say you're from the Kenyan anatomy. From South Africa, from the South African anatomy. Yes, and
exactly.
Even,
so when we start talking like this, so it will attract more people, psychologically, everything is psychology, so it will start attracting people psychologically, saying that, oh, I'm from this province, oh, I'm from this province. Then they will think that one continent as one Africa, because we are one. There is no out there. There is no here. We are all one. So if we put in our mind that we are all one, we are going to move forward like speed of light. Specifically if we promote our economies and build our strong army, in order to be free. When you are begging every time, you cannot be free. When you are begging, look at the IMF, look at the World Bank. They are looking at us each and every day. They want us to borrow more money so that you can be slave economically. So we should open our eyes and act now. You see?
Well, that's very, very, very phenomenal, and it's really disheartens me when I get to understand at this stage in time when we have a lot of African manufacturers in terms of automobile and people who have the idea to be able to bring forward various ventures. Even we have a new platform just like WhatsApp, but I think is an Ethiopian, one of these countries called South Africa, and we have cars, we have various ventures, we have people doing phenomenal artworks, yet we have no treasure for what they do, and we just get to understand and say why are these things happening? And sometimes it calls for a revolution. That's why I always personally, just within my own frontier, I would always support people like Assimi Goïta and Mamadou Doumbouya, who took that kind of initiative to take away leaders who were trying to bring forth a wide gap between slavery and emancipation. Because when people are not feeling or understanding the kind of projects or understanding the sufficiency that the government wants to bring on board, they are not part of the training, they're not part of the parenting. But when everyone feels included in the administration, they all feel that the government is playing a part to also cater for them, maybe doing something in their neighborhood, doing something in their clan, doing something for them, then they feel well inclined psychologically and emotionally. And we've had dictatorial leaders whose life alone, because you go through school and you get to know that you're supposed to be in a democratic regime, yet you see your leader behaving dictatorially, and you get to ask yourself, so what's wrong with my country? You begin to feel left alone, and you begin to feel psychologically left alone and imbalanced. So when we see people like these military leaders who cause such imbalance, who cause such revolutionary traits, we must really be on their side, And I'm glad for since Doumbouya came into power and he overthrew the president and he's leading Guinea has been progressing on all sides. I've been hearing from Guinean citizens all the time. And, he's instilling a mark of discipline for them, And, I mean, I was really so happy when, during the African Cup of Nations, after Guinea was knocked out, they went back to Doumbouya to express their appreciation to him, for at least sponsoring them to go in for the Cup of Nations. And I was happy on this because, they felt a sense of parenting, a sense of inclusion under this administration. We could have football teams who go into a tournament and they feel so left off, and that could drain them, and they don't even feel part of their country, but they are just playing for playing sake. But they felt like, no, a new kind of revolution has come, which is trying to bring forth all that respect for each other, dignity, human dignity, and a sense of integrity in everything, and these are the things that we need to stand for and uphold, whereby when things are not going on well, we raise our voices. And sometimes I think in my own philosophy, an act of eradication, whereby such dictatorial leaders are overthrown, is an act of democratization, because they are fighting in for the needs of the people. Yes. So if we have leaders who come in, if we've had people who have had coup d'etats and they did not have coup d'etats to annihilate people, assassinate people, cause murders, bring forth lives coming to an end, but they came to rather restore democracy in their nation. They came to rather restore development progressing, to restore the construction of various projects, to restore progression in their country, to restore the economy back, then it must be really upheld, and that's what we need to stand for, to see to that every person is okay wherever he or she is. Yes, we've realized this in African Voices International, that sometimes there are certain countries whose numbers are very low and they feel left out. And that's why we've now created a block whereby we have 3 blocks in African Voices International. We have the progressives, we have the frontiers, and we have the Democrats. So even if maybe you are just about 3 or 4 from this part of your country, once you belong to this block, you belong to an anatomy, and you feel well part of a people. And we have leaders of all these blocks. So in case of anything, you can contact your leader and ask him for silent points about how things are going where. And we've done things in a way so that we understand that we are a family, just as you said, Dr. Maharaja. We have someone from Nigeria who is leading the East African bloc. So the East African bloc's leader is originating from the West African bloc, and the West African bloc's leader is also originating from the South African bloc, to show that we are all intertwined and we are all part of a body, and we must all believe in ourselves and work interrelatedly for the change we need to see. Yes. Every day, every time I see various places, and I just feel so elated. I see Sudanese people, I see Kenyans, and I'm just in love with nature, because I get to know that sometimes I feel, wow, am I a Kenyan or am I a Zimbabwean? Because I see something of me in them. In as much as I also see something of me in my fellow neighbors in Ghana, I also see something of me in other countries, in other citizens of other countries. And that shows and gives credence to the fact that we are all one people. Okay, so on our chat list, I see a couple of messages, but due to our time, I'll read only one message. And from Freedom Giant Dennis Makiza, he says, we can't change leaders and unsatisfied minds of leaders, but we can change the fault in law. Let's strictly propose and implement a free bias policy that will run instead of selfish opinions of leaders. Food security and other basic needs, let's strictly prohibit things that bring stagnation in small ethnic groups, families, and cooperatives. Those small groups are important in raising small funds that can solve part of such problems. So that's what he said. And actually what he said also to some works which are very democratic, like that of Rwandans. And the party of President Kagame, they have about 97% of the population of Rwanda, yet they include the minority in all their decision-making processes. And that's what we should do. I believe that we've learned a lot from today's program. And as we are leaving here, we are going to be the agents, the revolutionists, the pacesetters, the pioneers, and the game changers who are going to see to it that indeed every problem in Africa comes to the law. All our subsequent programs will be made known to everyone on our social media handles. So let's keep that in mind. We thank everyone for joining, and we say African Voices International, Freedom in Africa. Thank you.